On Sunday, May 30th of 2021, I left my home in Sacramento, California, and set out for Babe's Ride Out East Coast in Narrowsburg, New York. This was my first big motorcycle trip and my first time heading that far east. The longest I'd ever ridden was around 500 miles in one day. To say I didn't know what I was getting myself into would be an understatement. The goal of day one was to reach Salt Lake City, Utah. I quickly made my way over the hills and snow-peaked mountains into Nevada. It's easy to forget how beautiful California can be if you never leave the big cities. The lush green forests turned to sand and stone of the Nevada desert. Part of me always feels at home in this unforgiving and barren landscape. I couldn't tell you why. As the sun migrated overhead, I entered otherworldly Utah. A brief stop at the Bonneville Salt Flats satisfied a long-held curiosity. This state felt like it was dropped here from another planet. Just shy of 700 miles, and the air began to smell like the sea. I reached Salt Lake City just as the sun began to set. Exhausted and wondering if this whole trip was even possible. But the view from the top was pretty sweet. The warmth of the city will fool you of the cold, open road. Continuing east, I crossed the border into Wyoming, perhaps one of the least forgiving of environments to motorcyclists. Its cold and windy ways ushered me into Nebraska. My goal for the day was to reach Omaha, but there was no way it was going to happen. My daylight was going to end soon. At my last gas stop, I met another couple who were riding to the same town. They offered to guide me to my hotel, which I almost refused. I'm glad I didn't. I followed them into the dark, thankful to not be alone on the road. I never got their names. Thank you, sweet strangers. It was so ridiculously cold. Nebraska does not offer much in its scenery. If you're wondering what it looks like from the interstate, this is it. I made a pit stop at Frontier Harley Davidson in the town of Lincoln. While I didn't find what I came for, they gladly pointed me in the right direction. I was grateful for their friendliness. No sooner I entered Iowa, so came the rain. Another group heading east found the same shelter to gear up for the ride. We exchanged kind words and continued on. Once the dark clouds were in my rear view, I felt a greater ease. By moonrise, I approached Illinois. Relying solely on signs can sometimes get you into trouble. A fuel stop took me miles off the interstate into a small town, and I quickly became disoriented. A few curse words and U-turns later, and I found my way again. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. If you want to see part 2, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so that you get notified when I post the next part. This is definitely one of the craziest motorcycle trips I've ever taken, and riding to New York was something that was on my bucket list to do. So thank you again, and I'll see you in part 2.